Yes.
but it's passionate.
That's how you know you really love
passionate
someone.
love.
If you could actually destroy them.
Should we insert some kind of like punch, some kind of like
Maybe.
destroy? More that what am I wanting to say?
I can help you with that.
You really can't. You just stay over there on your side.
Here, I'll help.
No,
Let me just point it in the right
I
direction.
think no.
I'll angle.
Is that good?
Yeah.
It's
Here.
just sticking up.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
You're making it worse. I already figured this out.
Okay.
The rhythm of life.
Well, you know what? The title of the small show that we're making, The Rhythm of Life, it kind of fits a lot of things because it was our goal to produce an episode each week, right?
Still struggling with this thing.
But then the rhythm of life happened. Sometimes things are fast, sometimes they're slow. The rhythm, the timing, it changes, right? And so we slowed down, and this is my lovely excuse. It's the rhythm of life.
I would hope that someone like comments and says how they feel about that particular
How I'm a
statement.
master bullshito artist.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's not true. Because I think that was like one of the things that I wanted to talk about on our InstaFace is that life is all about ebbs and flows. Like you can't make or force something to happen the exact same way for long periods of time. And if you do succeed in doing that, it is going to break. Mm-hmm. It will break. You can't sustain that. It's just, and we've noticed that with ourselves, and we've noticed that with watching others too.
That'll be important later. So what's the purpose of what we're doing now? This is like a quick update video.
This is an update because we started, and we've been talking to people on Instagram about how we started our YouTube channel in hopes to do episodes every single week. And then Brandon got hurt. We had to get very creative in how we were making content. And it was kind of like, today's episode is basically just going through why we stopped the episodes and where we're at now. Mm-hmm. Basically, life, because you got hurt, we didn't know what to do with our everyday life, let alone Instagram, social media, YouTube videos. Like we had started new endeavors at the very beginning of the year. There was a lot going on that we like got the ball rolling on, and we couldn't keep up with all of it. Mm-hmm. Prior to you getting hurt, yeah, because our rehearsals were on point. We knew what schedules we had for the week with our clients. So, and then Instagram was moving smoothly. And so then when this happened, just like everything was just completely derailed. Mm-hmm. And if we can find some kind of like train crash, we should
insert that on the screen.
Insert it now.
Not to take things too far back, but it was like I would say the last 4 to 3 months of 2023, we had all these really cool opportunities of being brought out to coach, to judge, and to travel. And we were also competing as well. And then we had a lot of irons in the fire. Like we were working on like sponsorships of, trying out different clothing and giving our reviews on different.
That was the new endeavor of this year.
That was going to be the new stuff for 2024. And then we literally performed the last evening of 2023. We performed New Year's Eve, and we were supposed to take January and February off, but not off. It was like to
decompress.
Slow down.
It was to slow down because we were traveling like every other weekend, which we love. Like once we get going, I'd rather just keep going because doing goes and stops, it's just I just prefer consistency. So we were like, again, to point back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the episode today, you can't keep that pace forever. Like something's going to give. Like Brandon's back. So we scheduled a planned, like, no competitions, no performances, no traveling, all of January, all of February. And then we'll see at the end of that where we're at. And our last performance was literally New Year's Eve, which I want to do a video of so that everybody can see behind the scenes for that. It's just a short video. Last evening of 2023, we performed. What was New Year's Day? We were fighting already.
Yeah.
Like, it was like great. And then New Year's Day, I was like, ah.
But I think it's just because we were tired.
We were very tired.
Yeah.
Which is why we needed the break.
So we had a competition organizer reach out to us, and he asked us if we would do a performance the first weekend of January. And we had already again said we weren't going to perform for January or February, but we measured it out, and we were already going to be at that competition competing with our students. So we figured, you know,
we may as well. We want to perform. Why would you ever, as performers, why would you ever
turn down a
performance? We should have, though.
Yeah, but it was like Wednesday, we were supposed to perform on Saturday. So Wednesday my back started hurting and we slowed down our rehearsal, and then Thursday is when everything just hit the fan. And when I say hit the fan, like I had a disc herniation or bulge. I don't know. It kind of goes by both names. But that happened like Thursday in the morning, and I've really not experienced pain like that ever in my life. And I felt like, when I say I felt like I was being attacked, what I mean is I collapsed to the ground in a lot of pain, and it didn't matter what angle I sat in, like whether I was on my left side or flat or on my right side, everything felt horrible. And you had to like calm me down because I was like, I don't know how to lay. And you were like, it's fine. You're going to be okay. You're like talking me through like a hostage situation. And then you have
hostage?
Yeah, like over the phone, like, what do we do? They have guns. And you're like, it's okay. We're sending the SWAT team. And
I was very confused.
Some kids don't know what this is.
No, I know. They go like this.
Kame. Weird.
We're not kids anymore.
But you had to like help me to the room and to even get me into
I had
the bed.
experienced what you were going through, which makes me think that I probably have the same thing. I just didn't know it.
Right.
Because I knew what you were talking about. Like, it just doesn't, like, standing is painful, laying down is painful, walking is, breathing is painful. And so when you haven't experienced it before, you're like in a bit of a state of panic because nothing's comfortable and you're in so much pain.
Right. And the next movement could be a worse movement.
Right. Like you like, what if I make it worse? Yeah. It's a very bizarre feeling.
So needless to say, I was like actually down for, I want to say,
you were solid down not teaching for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that meant that Chelsea had to step in and she had to teach my students. So people I would normally be physically dancing with. She was coming in and coaching, and of course I'm
doing the lifting.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. I was not lifting anyone.
And of course I'm grateful that our students were supporting us during that time, but it wasn't like wasted time for anybody either because Chelsea is their coach. So they'll have sessions where they just work with her anyway. So it was just sort of like, okay, well, this is what we're doing for this 2-week period.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a mess just because, like we were talking about before the year when we had a lot of irons in the fire and we were trying to like start working with different companies to get sponsorships, either in the way of they're sending us their product and we are reviewing it, or we're doing like paid content for them. But it was like those opportunities started to unfold while I was hurt. And I was actually telling my chiropractor about it this morning. I was telling Ben I felt like such an idiot because I had just gotten hurt. I can barely move this left arm. And we got this weighted gravity apparel that people had sent us. And so I'm wearing it and I'm in the gym and I'm working out and I can barely lift 20 pounds with my left arm. And my wife is having to come over and like spot my left arm because I'm like, "Rrr." So I felt like such a tool bag because I'm like, I can't lift 20 pounds with my left arm and I'm wearing weighted clothing. Like, what must people think right now? I know what I thought of myself, but.
Yeah, I think that because of what I went through 2 years ago, when was that? 2 years ago, I was like really, really, like severely sick. And I went through kind of like the same thing because I remember being like super strong and being able to lift pretty heavy. And for like the gym is where that's like our time. Like that's like it's work to work out and lift and train and all that kind of stuff, but we love it. Like, you know, baby Brandon and Chelsea, which we need to go like back down memory lane. If you would have told us 10 years ago that this is what our lives would, like what we dreamed our lives were going to be, is literally what happens, if not like better than we imagined, we would have been in shock. Like, oh, like our jobs are to go and train. Like that's what we wanted. So it's just crazy. But anyway, we enjoy the gym, and so when that's taken from you and you feel like a weakie, just like barely able. I remember the first time I worked out, I had like 5-pound weights and I couldn't curl 5-pound weights.
Yeah.
And I was like bawling in the gym. So when I saw him struggling with it, I was like, I knew what that feeling was. So that's why I was just like, who cares what these people think?
And to be honest, most of the people at our gym aren't even paying attention.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care about that kind of stuff, but you feel...
You're concerned about it, therefore you think there's like a spotlight on you.
Right.
When in reality, that's just your own perception.
Right.
It kind of felt like there's no good time for an injury. There's no good time for sickness or illness in your life. But it felt like this could possibly be the worst time because we're supposed to be working with these companies and reviewing their product, and I'm just physically not capable
to do what we normally do.
Yes.
The dancing, like I don't think he couldn't go into a dance position, because when you're dancing with a partner, you have like that dance position as the lead. It's your left arm, and he couldn't feel anything. So like even when you got back into teaching, we can do dancing, but the reason our Instagram is a thing, the reason people bring us in is for the majority of the time for lifts.
Yeah.
And we just could not do it at that time. So it was very, very, very stressful. Very stressful on him, very stressful on me. And then we were like battling against each other.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare.
Dancing is so heavily integrated into everything that Chelsea and I do that it feels like an aspect of your identity. And it is a facet of my being and it's a facet of your being, but it's not who we are. It's just a gift that we've been given. And just like anything else, these things can be gone tomorrow. Like something terrible could happen and I could lose my ability to walk, therefore lose my ability to dance, and I would have to rediscover who I am in lieu of losing that gift.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of what I was going through, as it was kind of like, well, who am I if I'm not this guy who can lift Chelsea above my head? And there was only a few instances where that fear was reinforced because it felt like I was not worth it to people if I wasn't able to lift them. So that was not a fun feeling. It was already an insecurity that I had, and like I said, it was mildly reinforced. But what I have to remember is just, again, God gave us these gifts, and nothing lasts forever. There's going to be a season for everything, and hopefully I'm in the right place mentally and spiritually, where I understand that I find my worth and my identity in Jesus and not in
yourself.
Correct.
And your abilities or things. Because I think that was like one of the things, like when this started going on and the insecurities started to set in on my side and on his side, like I really struggled. Like I could not handle it. Like when I was sick, you did really good of like taking care of me, because like you're the man, you handle these things better. And for me, I was more emotional, and so I was battling the identity stuff too, which we've worked on before this. It was kind of like a reminder of like God coming in and being like, hey, hey, don't lose sight. But what was different from the one that we experienced prior, several years ago, to this one was I was still an emotional wreck, but I knew, I was like, God's doing something. Something's happening. There's a shift or something. So I was struggling with the loss of what I thought I needed in life, but I know instinctively that God, his will is better than what my will is, and ultimately is better for us in the end. And I know that, but for whatever reason, I was like clinging to it, and then therefore like causing all of this unnecessary stress and anxiety.
I'm so glad you thought I handled things well when you were sick, because I think I turned a lot of aspects of my feelings off during that time in an effort to preserve myself. So, I mean, I almost just cried in Kroger. Like I was like walking,
Aw,
pushing the cart, and I just stopped in the middle of the aisle, and I was like tearing up, and I'm like,
what is going on?
yeah, it was.
I know, it's bizarre. But I think too is like, I think that I'm not saying that we're special or anything, but I think maybe we kind of are. Because our relationship is so tight. Like God knew that we needed each other. And so we're each other's best friends. Like people will say like, oh, we've been together for a decade and we don't have anything to talk about anymore. That's just not how we are. Like we enjoy each other's company. That doesn't mean that we don't go through struggles, obviously, and fight and want to kill each other.
Yes.
But it's passionate.
That's how you know you really
a
love
passionate
someone.
love.
If you could actually destroy them.
Should we insert some kind of like punch, some kind of
Maybe.
like destroy?
Like Vegeta and Goku fighting.
Yeah.
They really do love each other.
So when one is broken, the other one is broken too. And I think that because of our jobs in particular, it's a physical job. Like we have to, it's not just, showing up to a desk job. Not saying that that's not hard, but when our bodies aren't working, we're not working. So that's what's stressful. And then it was kind of like we don't know when he's gonna get better, because you were like, your arm was numb, you couldn't feel in your hand at all. You were like saying your forearm felt like it was gonna explode. Like I was like, okay, it might go away for like, a week. Okay, maybe 2 weeks. Maybe 3 weeks is what we need. And then it like just kept, it was like.
Yeah, the pain was just changing. The thing with disc herniation is like, obviously your disc is like a patty shape, and it can herniate in any direction, like spokes on a bicycle wheel. So the way my herniation happened to go was towards you have nerves that run along either side of your spine, and unfortunately that's where my herniation decided to go. So it's pushing on, nerves, which are like telephone lines for communication to the rest of your body. So,
which I'm pretty sure that's what happened to one of our best friends, Kristen. I think that's what happened to her when she was go, and I think it happened lower. So yours was higher, hers was lower, so it affected her legs. I mean, she couldn't move. She was being carried everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, mine was in my cervical spine. Hers was in her thoracic spine, or lumbar, I think. Yeah, it was in her lumbar spine. It's weird because it's like, for a while it was like an electric pain, or it felt like a burning pain, and it would just radiate. Like some days it'd be in the shoulder, and then in the tricep, and then in the elbow. And like Chelsea said, like at one point it felt like someone was filling my forearm with water.
Like it was just getting like so much pressure or something.
Yeah. So it's very strange. And then when pain started to go away, there was always weakness there. But when I say weakness, I'm just talking like it's like you have a certain bandwidth that your arm can handle, and mine was running at like 30%. So I was just not getting full signal to my arm. I still have a little bit of like tingling and change of sensation in these two fingers here. It's not completely gone, but if you look it up, like disc herniation, how long is recovery? Easy, the answer is going to be like 4 to 6 months. So the fact that I'm even doing what we're doing now is
a miracle in itself. Our first event of the year, we had all of these plans. We were conceptualizing, like we're like choreographing everything, and we're kind of like thinking, okay, what would physically be possible for us to do? There were several things that we had to take out, like our get up from the floor, our dirty dancing, like from the floor getting up. Obviously had to take that out. So we were like conceptualizing, but we weren't running anything. So like the first time that he was able to do anything overhead was like, I looked it up on our Instagram, is 6 days. 6 days, not even a week.
6 days before
6
we performed.
days before we performed.
Sounds about right.
So it was just, and so that whole story, going to Gateway, I think that deserves its own episode because it was an amazing event. I absolutely loved it. Loved the organizer. And then coming up with our new 2024 routine, that deserves its own episode too. But yeah, that's why we have been MIA. We're just now like getting on the other side of the crazy, still healing and being careful.
It's starting to get easier to to work out in the gym and to do different moves during rehearsal. So it's starting to feel a little bit more like, obviously we're a changed version of ourselves now.
Yes.
So we're never going to go back to what we were, but that's what you're supposed to do. Is you're supposed to change, adapt, grow, and I think I will come back stronger in different ways,
Yeah.
but also I could come back stronger physically as well. So, but we've had to grow stronger together as well, and it's more been like in a relationship aspect, but also in a spiritual aspect as well. And I think if you made it this far into the video, you know, huge thank you. I would say probably the biggest takeaway that I would want you to have is, you know, we got to watch the eclipse recently, and neither one of us was really excited about it. In fact, I wanted it to be over so people would quit saying it was the end of the world, because I already grew up in one doomsday cult, and
You weren't ready for another one.
yeah, exactly. So we actually got to watch the eclipse, and it was such a beautiful experience to just see that many people slow
Stop.
down.
Everyone came to a standstill.
And it's just everything got dark, and the lights in the parking lot of the gym turned on, and our headlights turned on because the sensors were just sensing how dark it was outside, and the temperature got cooler, and we were playing Hans Zimmer music from the movie Dune, and we were like,
Epic.
there was that moment where the moon finally just completely eclipsed, and you couldn't see anything through the blackout glasses anymore, so you pulled them down, and there was this
Like,
white ring.
I wasn't expecting it to be that gorgeous and that majestic. That was a once in a lifetime kind of deal. That was really cool. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Because I thought everyone was like, super moon. I'm like, last night was better. I don't understand what we're talking about.
But I'm glad that we got to see it, and it was a spiritual experience. But when you look at the heavens and you think how amazing and awesome they are, you like look at just our solar system and then expand that out to our galaxy and understand that there's other galaxies outside of that. And like, you have all of that time, space, and matter. It's incredible. But God, the one who's holding all of that together, he individually cares about each person's needs. And he comes and speaks to you individually. And
It's very personal, which is why it's important that you have a relationship with God. Because of the experiences we've had throughout our entire career and lives together, he's proven himself time and time again, where clearly we would not have been able to do what we did or go through what we have gone through without him guiding us. And there's things that it's like literally out of our control. We did nothing to deserve any of it. Everyone knows how this world works. You rub elbows with the right people, you pay for this ad, you do this, you're making things happen the way that you want them to. You want a specific outcome, so you're doing the worldly way of getting that. Brandon and I have never done it that way, ever. And the things that we get, or the things that we get to experience, are far beyond anything we would have imagined. And so like with this, because a lot of people, like on Instagram, people will be like, well, if God really loved you, you wouldn't be going through struggles. Is that true? I don't think so. I think that in our struggle, we find the need for him. And if you're humble and you're allowing, because we had to be humbled this time for sure, but if you're humble and you just allow him to work in the midst of the chaos, that's where you see him the most. When things are typically going really, really well, you're confident in yourself. My bank account is good, my work is good, my life is good, like I look good. Like you don't need anything because you're so high on whatever you've made for yourself. And so I think that these low moments are actually more important than the high moments, because that's where you actually get to see him work personally. And he's answering prayers that we've said in secret, things that you can't deny that he was there the whole time.
Yeah, it's too coincidental to say that these things just came together.
Right.
And it's not a karma thing either. It's not a putting good energy out and good things will come back to you, because there's been amazing people in the past who have put out nothing but good vibes and got nothing but bad in return. And their suffering would be meaningless if God didn't exist. And also, it kind of puts the whole karma thing to bed, because they were really good people and bad things were happening to them. So that would kind of contradicts the fact that you put good things out and good things come back to you. There is meaning in suffering. And the person who showed that better than anyone else would be Jesus of Nazareth. So when we say that God understands our pain and our suffering, he doesn't just understand it from the sense that he made
he knows
everything.
all, and he sees it from a distance and understands. He lived it.
Yeah, Jesus has an experiential knowledge of suffering, even though he was completely innocent. So that's why it's not a pithy thing when we talk about our faith. It's not just a thing that makes us feel better. I think it was C.S. Lewis who said a bottle of brandy would have done that for me. You know, he didn't just believe in Jesus because it made him feel nice. You know, he could have turned to alcohol to do that.
Yeah.
But it's the most important thing you can talk about. It's the most eternal thing that you can talk about. So that's why we don't shy away from it, and we're grateful when people say, I love that you guys are dancers and that you share your faith. And that's really the only reason that we're able to dance is because of his provision. So
yeah, we came from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We came from nothing, and we don't like, people assume that we have these amazing backgrounds. We've been dancing since we were 2, and it's not that way. And I think that that's the incredible thing, is like, because, you know, taking us and putting us together, it was kind of like God, you know, using something so that he can be seen through us. I think that he's such a big part of our, like, we have a relationship with him. It's not a religion. We have a relationship with him. And so, you know, everything that we do, you know, when it comes to business or dancing or teaching or our marriage or our friendships and stuff like that, our lives are wrapped in him. And so it's nearly impossible to not talk about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that we don't struggle and we don't fail and we don't mess up. And so that's kind of where we've been and what we've been up to. And just for future, like, we're going to try and make stuff that's like how-to. So we're going to how-to stuff so that people have content that is going to be good for
helpful.
Forever.
Yeah.
And you can get something beneficial from it. So basically, we're just going to try and share as much as we can. I mean, obviously, we can't give away everything, but we're just going to try and be helpful in whatever ways that we can. And then the other stuff too is like this channel is a cool way to catalog our lives and, you know, share with you guys what we're up to. And so it's going to be a little bit more, you know, like this. Sometimes we'll be sitting down to chat. Other times we'll be following each other with the camera, but it's more or less so that we can, again, kind of catalog our lives and have you guys partake in that journey with us if you want. Partake. Pull up a chair. Grab a fork.
I don't like it.
I don't like these analogies. Paint the town red. So anyways, that's what we've been up to. And hopefully we'll be able to produce some more episodes for you guys here pretty soon.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted you to keep looking back and forth.
You want me to keep?
Yeah, because you're I looked at.
No!
Wait, okay, so I'm looking, you look at me. And I'll say, all right.
Okay.
Sure.
That's it.
Wonderful.
We're done.
For real this time.
All done. I could keep going. I would win this.
I know.
For sure.
Oh, I know.